This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with SB Sports Chaco. We're delighted to be joined once again with probably our most regular active guest in a long time, Ian Gaughran. Ian, 2 wins for the stable tonight, obviously. I'm sure you obviously are very, very proud. First and foremost, obviously Dave Ryan making his professional debut, and obviously Dominic Donegan obviously getting back to winning ways. I think, 2.5 years since the last one, so I'm sure you're delighted that both guys have put on a good display in Belfast tonight.
Yeah. First of all, for Dom, as we all know, that win was for Harrison and for Harrison Jameson's family. They were here tonight, and fair play to Mark Dunlop as well for putting on the 10 bells. It was really well respected for his family, and Dom was actually, I thought he was pretty good. I know, as you mentioned, it's been a long time that he's won. He took the Graham fight, and he went in with Owen Duffy. He'd say himself that, it was a lot of pride that led him to take them fights. But he's been working really hard in the gym with Dan Anderson, and he's had a bit of a hard camp. As we know, obviously, Harrison passing was just a killer blow, but there was nothing that was stopping Dom from getting in the ring tonight. He broke his hand 4 weeks ago, and they kind of half kept that one from me a little bit. I knew he'd hurt it, but it was only this week that they said, oh yeah, that was actually fractured, and it was a balloon. I think he threw the right hand 4 times, and he got a big out right hand. But what was good about it was that he got to use the left hand, and they got to put all of that hard work on the gym, and he jabbed, double jab, he worked the body, he set up the left hook, and it was a really polished performance, and I'm delighted for him. I'm really, really delighted for him, because it takes balls to go in and do that when such things like that have happened to you. Harrison was one of his best mates, and it's only now that he's starting to grieve because he had so much onto this fight, and it was a little bit of emotion after the fight, but I'm absolutely delighted for him.
They'd say that obviously sometimes death can do one of two things. Obviously somebody could completely fold up and go into a shell themselves, or they can come out with pride. In some ways, probably Dom will probably look back in time, and I know through death and my own family and everything else, sometimes when things happen in life, a greater good comes out of it, and obviously now he's got Harrison obviously watching out for him and keeping. But it's always a memory, it's obviously a lad wee bits to Dominic's game now, and we'll probably see a better version of Dominic than we've ever seen before. Yeah.
First of all, Dan has put so much work into him, and he's really starting to listen, and he's really starting to transform into a boxer, where he was always this big hitter, and he'd like to come forward and a bit of a scrapper, and wanting to take people out. He's Dom the Bomb, but Dan has gotten to work and box and think, and as you say, there's a couple of times over the course of the last kind of 4 weeks where Dan's ran me up and said, here, it's absolutely hell, but he's laser focused and he's really sharpened up. And it is really like, as you say, he's got that on the shoulder, he's got Harrison looking down for him, and he has that little bit more of an extra focus that he wants to do it for Harrison and make Harrison's family proud. And you saw that in there tonight. He won every round. He's been on a horrible streak, and he took fights he took the Graham fight and the Owen Duffy fight. They were 2 genuine 50-50s, and he came out the wrong side of them. That was what it was there tonight, was for him to build that confidence up. And we do have the confidence in him. Dan is loads of time from him. I love the fella to bits, and we're in contact most days, and this was just a huge win for him.
Dave Ryan as well. Obviously, I know whenever you told me the opponent had changed, it was Brian Morena. Brian Morena just come off a stoppage win, obviously, on BT Sport as well. And I was like, "Are you sure? Do you know who Brian Morena is?" And you were obviously confident in it. What a performance from Dave Ryan tonight. I thought it was probably one of the best debuts I've probably seen in quite a while.
Yeah, and even when I spoke to Mel Crystal from the view, he said, "This is quite the debut you're putting him in for." I said, "Look, we've the utmost confidence in David. As you know, what he's done in previous sport, he's 70 professional fights, and he's a multiple champion, Irish, European, world champion kickboxer, professional. So, while Morena is very dangerous, and as we saw what he did, a 9-0 prospect that knocked him clean out, and we saw what he did with Colin Murphy here at the Europa. Gave Colin a right night, but those are the kind of fights that you want, especially for someone like David, who knows what is. Like, you saw him in there, he's so relaxed, he's almost horizontal, but what he has is that head movement, and he's so elusive and slippery for a big lad. And he came in with the counter right hand, and he gave Morena, he hurt him a couple of times, which I was very, very pleased with, because as you said, everybody was on going, what are you doing throwing him in with Gaughran? But look, it's come off now, and as far as debuts go, I don't think you get much better than that.
When are you hoping to get both lads out? We know obviously Christmas is coming up. Obviously there's a Conlon show in 3 weeks' time, probably too soon for them. Yeah. When are you hoping to get both lads back out in the action?
I will have a chat with Mark for starters, because obviously myself and Mark are very close, and we work very well together. Let's see what he's generally. Mark goes in February, doesn't he? So we'll see what the story is. I've got a little bit of. I have had contact across the way with Sam Kynock as well with regarding Dom, and there are a couple of options that with one more win he might be back into some sort of title contention. We'll look at it. What was most important was that Dom won tonight, and David again will look for something similar. Like, he's, as far as raw boxing goes, he's a novice, but as you know, and as he's told you before, in his kickboxing career he mostly boxed, and you saw there today he's quite slick. Now he put a lot into the first 3 rounds. He probably was trying a couple of little things in the 4th round, but he looked to get out probably same time, January, February time. Let them enjoy their Christmas. Now David, he never stops. Like, he lives and works and owns and everything in the gym. So, like, himself and his partner Leona, they're both fitness heads. So he won't stop. And it's great that he can work on a few things over the Christmas into January, and we'll get him something in February, because he needs to get active and he needs to start just a little bit stepping up, because he's told me already, I don't want to be hanging around. And I think he told you yesterday, I'll fight anybody, just give me anybody. And we're not going to just throw him in with anybody, but he's very, very promising, I think, as we saw.
This is the first time we've spoke since obviously you had your 3rd child as well. Like, I know obviously having children, you don't get much sleep, but obviously you have fighters and stuff. Like, next week, obviously, Dagan Garrity's in Scotland. Graham McCormick obviously has a domestic dust up for his Celtic belt in 3 weeks' time. Do you get fighters' fights to get out of the house from the missus? Is that what it is?
No, absolute no comment. I'm actually, as soon as we finish talking here, I'm going straight home. I won't be here for the rest of the night, because I have a newborn baby, Liam, and he's brilliant. So yeah, it's busy, but after December the 10th now, with Graham fights, it'll calm down for the Christmas and into January. Now, as you know, you're probably in contact with more boxers than I am. They never stop. They're always on. But I'm looking forward to Deco next week. He's fighting on the undercard of Dean Sutherland's Commonwealth title, and he had a good win last month. Hopefully he'll have a good win. His opponent is due to fight tonight, so he's going to fight a fella who's 30 odd wins, so it's a little bit more of a step up. And he's out again in December, the week before Christmas, and after that, sure, if the rust isn't blown off, but then we've got something to go to war with for the rest of the new year. And then Graham will tell you, he's my number 1. So that's going to be huge in the SSE arena around the corner here now in a few weeks' time. Fergus going for his Celtic title, and we were sparring up in Dublin with Paul Ryan and Tyrone McKenna. I was really happy with where Graham is, really happy with where his weight is as well. He's ahead of everything that he usually is. So it's going to be a big few weeks, and then we can calm down for the Christmas, and we go again in the new year.
Well, listen, I know we obviously you're going to head back down home. Obviously, thanks for getting a catch up with us. I'm sure we'll probably see you in 3 weeks' time in Belfast once again, but thanks for your time, and we'll speak with you soon, Ian.
Thanks as always, Stevie. Cheers.